start with roll call.
St. Laurent,
Here.
Lee,
Here.
Van Wormer,
Here.
Hutnick, no, Osbold, no, Bauer, no, Poznanski,
Here.
and Rose, yes. We have a quorum.
Okay, so we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so approval of the agenda.
I have one item to add. If we can add to new business, B, interim DDA executive director.
Can I see your pen?
You stole my
I
last one.
know. I left it. It's still in my backpack. Okay, I would approve the agenda with the addition.
All in favor?
Do we need a
Aye.
second?
Oh,
Do we need a second or no?
Oh, yes, I guess we should.
I'll second.
Thank you.
I thought I was set. I thought
I
you were
thought-
making.
oh,
I thought you were making it yours
Oh,
second.
sorry, I was just trying to add. My bad.
All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, agenda is approved. So we'll move on to approval of the minutes. We have two sets, the June 3rd informational meeting minutes and the June 3rd regular meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve both.
Did you say both?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll
second it.
I wasn't here, so.
I'll second it.
All righty, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Next item is public forum.
Going once.
All righty,
Anybody?
we'll move on to financial reports. You're up.
Okay, so we had deposits of $1,557.93. And then total bills were $22,633.37. Questions? Okay.
A motion to approve the financial report and approval of the bills to be paid.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, and a second.
I'll second.
Okay, do a roll call.
St. Laurent,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Van Wormer,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Yes.
Rose, yes. 5-0.
Moving on to funding requests, the DDA did not receive any funding request. And now we move on to presentations, and we have Kathy Dickens from the Four County Community Foundation.
Yay,
all
it's
yours.
yours, Kathy.
We moved quickly for you.
I like it. Well, thank you for having me.
You want to go up there, that way they
Oh,
can
yes, I
hear
can.
you on the,
I'll go anywhere you like. Well, thank you for having me here at the Romeo DDA meeting. My name is Kathy Dickens, the Executive Director of Four County Community Foundation. And I had thought that it would be, appropriate, if you will, to write a letter of thanks to the DDA for the space above the People-Driven Credit Union. And then I had second thought to that. I thought, well, I should likely go in person because it is such a gracious gesture that you have made. It's a gracious offer. We have so appreciated the space. We use it daily, of course, Monday through Friday, and the DDA members that we see here and there, off and on again, are ever so gracious, not only to help with furniture or moving things, but even just, John the other day was there and hopped up to help me with something that was completely mine that I had dropped. And in addition to the space, that being a gracious gift in and of itself, the space, the gift of space, and the gift of all that comes with that space. I just really very appreciative and wanted to let you know that so many new relationships have been formed. Lots of people coming and going in that area, the DDA as well as the chamber, as well as I think they're called TNT meetings. Lots of people coming and going, and lots of relationships formed that would have otherwise not been formed. And I just simply can't thank you enough from a professional standpoint, from a foundation standpoint. Just very, very much appreciate that. And I know that it wasn't just signing a paper, that took some effort on your behalf. And I'm ever so grateful. All three of us are from Fort County and the entire board. So I thought that it was best that I say that to you in person, and please do forgive me for my face. I had a fight with a file cabinet, and the file cabinet clearly won. I have a little, but yeah. So at any rate, thank you so much for the time and the effort and just the grace that you've provided us in using the space.
Well, thank you, Kathy.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate you coming and talking to us, and we absolutely love the relationship. I know every time I come up there, you're always so gracious and so kind and welcoming and saying hello and good morning and all the things, and so I appreciate it personally and for the DDA.
Absolutely.
Nothing but good things to come, I think.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. So that brings us to our unfinished business. We've got some committee updates. Employment Committee has not met as of yet. So we have been receiving applications for the executive director role as well as the administrative assistant role. At this point, we are kind of trying to narrow down. But I'm gonna leave actually any more comments regarding that till we get to the interim DDA director, because we have some information to share under that topic. Moving on to Shakespeare in the Village update. I have not received an update from the committee. I did speak with a couple of the members in the last week or two and asked them to please keep us in the loop and let us know if there's anything that they need as they move forward with it.
Have we nailed down dates and things?
That's where the last kind of thing that they were working on was
Okay.
dates and location.
Okay.
So I believe that they were thinking the second weekend in October, second or third. It was right before Halloween kicked off and
Okay.
everything switched.
I just want to
until
make sure if they need to turn in permit to reserve park and gazebo that we get
we
that.
get it in time.
Yep. Okay.
Statement of occupancy permit, we do not have an update on this at this point. There is discussion of looking at that within the PILOP committee. So we'll discuss that under PILOP. All right, wayfinding signage.
The final designs for the banners were sent to Giordano. We had a little back and forth about file type and all that, but I think we've gotten it straightened around. So hopefully those will be getting going and printing soon. We have 3 versions of the banners. One is a generic, just kind of Romeo theme, one is a winter theme, and one is a fall theme. So we should have no reason why we shouldn't have banners up all the time. And then one of the banners says public parking. So we've ordered 6 to start with in each theme, and those will go up in various locations in the downtown where public parking exists that isn't maybe so obvious that it's public parking, and hopefully that will start to help manage the parking issue downtown. So that's one step.
All right. Vintage Fest 2024 successes and budget review.
Okay, so you have in your packet, what I knew as of a week ago Friday. So overall, the success of Vintage Fest, I wish Kathy and Marty, you were here to talk about it. It was a great time. The weather was perfect. There were a ton of people out. There were a ton of cars out. Everybody that I ran across said they had a fabulous time. There were great things for the kids to do. Families all out, the whole day. So from that perspective, I think it was fantastic. The weather helped, guys will bring out their cars or gals will bring out their cars if the weather's nice, so that was perfect. And the music was great, so all in all, I think it was a great event. What you have here is what I knew before I met with Plant Moran this past Monday to put together the packets. So bear with me while I explain what this is and what everything means. You'll see on the left-hand side where it says vendor or sponsor. That is the person that either we had to write a check to, or they were listed on the brochure as a sponsor for Vintage Fest. The next area, I felt like I needed a category to try to determine where that money was coming from or what it was being paid to, whether it was children's activity, car show, shirts, printing, that kind of thing. The next column is either a check number, cash, or other. So if you see a check number there, that was written by the DDA. Obviously, the amount is the amount that it was for. If it's in red, that means that was money going out. If it's in green, that should be money coming in. I've listed on here the transaction date, who it was paid by, and if it was paid in full, if there was a partial payment, or if I had no verification that a payment exists. So, for example, you'll see Giordano Graphics about a quarter of the way down. There's 2 line items for them. I was given the information to pay them $36, as that was the remainder that a sponsor had not paid them of the total bill. So I did write that check. They were partially paid. I learned through working with Franny with the banners that she had not received any other money. So there was still $1,700 outstanding, again, as of when I did this before meeting with Plant Moran. Since meeting with Plant Moran this past Wednesday, I received some verification of additional payments made. I have received verification that the remainder, that $1,700, was paid partially by RSI, Judge Andery, Shana Roofing, Brunch at Joe's, Dispo, and K-9 Kindergarten. On the right-hand side, you'll see where it says total bills, $11,559.81. That is everything in red. That's everything where there was a bill that somebody was paying, whether it was the DDA or we're told a sponsor had paid. Total deposits that I had made at this time was $2,260. Where you see that no verification of payment, it was $3,900 after receiving the stuff on Wednesday. It's now $1,225. So I do have verification of $10,334.81 that has been paid. Do you want me to keep going, or are you gonna ask?
No, go ahead, I'll wait.
I know
It's
it's
a
a
lot to
lot,
take in.
it's a lot to digest, and this was my way of trying to keep track of it myself. The ones I don't have verification on is Wolfman Mac, Brittany Rodriguez, which I believe she was the face painter, Mark LeDuc is the magician, and Jill Harrison. I also do not have verification of sponsorship for Mark.
That they were paid?
I don't have verification that they were paid, correct. I don't know if they were paid. I don't have sponsorship money from Mark Hackle, Romeo Rotary, Romeo Dairy Queen, MJC Four Corners, Sharon Smith, Northern Macomb Chamber, Tucci Unlimited, and Giordano Graphics. So I don't know how those sponsorships were made. I just listed anybody that was on the brochure as listed as a sponsor. So it's very possible that they paid Wolfman Mac and all of these. I just don't have verification to show that, and Plant Moran is asking for that. So this is what I have, and that's the
So-
accounting as I know it.
For the sponsorships that we've received, the RSI, Judge, Shana Roofing, Bunch of Joe's, Dispo, do we know the dollar amount of each one of those sponsorships?
I do, I have them here.
Okay.
So I can go back, and for next meeting, I can update this on what we know and what I have. Additionally, I received, Wednesday, $100 in checks for the car show.
In addition to this 200
Right, whatever is on here,
plus 100?
yep. I received, an additional $60 in checks for t-shirts, and then $480 in cash for t-shirts. I was also given information that, MJC collected $1,140 from car show and t-shirts. $1,000 of that cash was paid to Heartbreakers the day of because somehow the check got lost. And the remaining $140 was given to Marty. I don't know if that remaining $140 is in the $480 cash. I assume it was. I just don't have anything to show for it. So car show fees in total,
So this Wolfman, I'm sorry, who did we give $1,000 to?
Heartbreakers.
Heartbreakers, but they're not listed on here.
They're probably listed as a check
Yeah,
because,
well,
or no, it says cash
Cash, and
at
it
the
has
top.
Kathy's name.
A little bit more.
Up top, yeah.
Oh, I see, okay, got it.
So,
I have some questions.
okay.
So as far as, start with the, okay, so we're waiting then on it, obviously, from Kathy and Marty to tell us where these other Mark Hackle, Culligan, Rotary, Heilbrecht, where all these sponsorships are at.
I have not had a chance to circle back with them because I was able to get in the office today and
Yeah.
find this stuff out, before the meeting. But yes, that would be
So
the,
that's
yes.
question one. And then question two, if we're looking at t-shirts, so we put out,
2,300?
2,300 on t-shirts, we collected 540, and then some amount of that 1,004.
540 plus 480 plus 140. I'm thinking 1,160.
Okay, so then I would also.
But I also know that Zach sold some shirts at FAMS, and he had indicated that he would have to get us that,
So we're waiting
money.
on those funds too.
yes.
And I do know the t-shirts were given to volunteers, so I think there will be no return on a certain amount. What that is,
I don't
that
know.
will have
So-
to be asked.
Yeah, we gotta kind of figure out how many t-shirts did that 2,300 purchase? How many were given away? How many are left in a box somewhere?
Yeah. Yeah, just the inventory of it.
Yeah,
I believe we collected $1,360 for car show. I've heard a couple different numbers of how many cars were there, so I don't know what that number is in total. I think, the paper reported like 163. I don't know if somebody went around and counted them. It seemed very specific. But if I was conservative in calculating at the $15 per car, it should be $2,445. I don't know that. I didn't count them. I have no idea.
So I think we really need to have, I mean, this, I appreciate you doing all this, but we really need to have Marty and Kathy get us final numbers and
Yeah,
final
well,
information.
And by next month, like you said, you've already had more things roll
Yep.
in since you created this.
Yep.
And then by next month, maybe all of that will,
Maybe all of that will be answered.
I think we
So,
just wait
table
on-
it.
Yeah, I think we kind of have to
Yeah.
wait it out, and any,
Does anybody else have any other
feedback?
questions that I should make sure to try to get answered?
I think all of the questions will get answered when you have all of the rest of the information.
I think too, just kind of, not to be premature, but I think kind of coming off of this, if we're putting this amount of money towards events, we need to, create some SOPs and some kind of just
Process?
processes of what we do and how we do it, and just things like, you know, sponsorship, you know, one, following our sponsorship program, but, you know, things like T-shirts. If we're building in a gift back to our sponsors, which is not a bad thing, but what does that look like? Are we gonna, you know, put a dollar amount on those sorts of things? How is all of this being tracked?
Well, and I bet you Marty and Kathy would have a lot of advice in that.
Sure, for
respect,
sure.
too.
After going
Having
through
to
it,
go
yeah.
through it, yeah, how it would.
I think the only other question that I have, like, the Heartbreakers that got the $1,000 cash, you have it listed as cash here, but you said that they were also given a check that got lost?
There were actually 3 checks that I wrote,
Okay.
and not one of them
Made it.
So
Okay.
all of them are voided.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Well,
we
one was
did,
the wrong name.
2 was the wrong
Yeah.
name. And the third one was the right name. It was all good. It got lost somewhere. And so the day of, they were expecting payment. I didn't know that we didn't have the check.
Right.
And so it was like, well, they gotta get paid.
So they
Okay.
took it out of their collection.
My other
Yeah,
concern
but
is
we
the
voided
fact,
the one that's
We voted
in
all
limbo.
3.
Right.
Okay.
I'm concerned that there's people who have done this work at the beginning of June and still aren't paid.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or I don't have verification they were paid.
And that was where some of the confusion came in, and Paul had made a good point last meeting about that, is because the way it was set up was, I'll sponsor that specific thing, we have sponsors paying directly to vendors, and we're kind of out of the mix, so and that was literally what he brought up, is how do we know that they did it? How do we
Yeah.
verify, because at the end of the day, it's our,
That makes me nervous that they could just say, oh yeah, I'll pay for the face painting, and then,
Yeah, now she just never got,
and then she's
Yeah.
thinking we didn't pay her.
or did she, and we just don't know about
And
it.
Yeah,
That
who
was a
knows?
little bit of what happened with Giordano.
Okay.
I was a little bit just on the phone with her talking about banners, and it came up. I was like, well, let me look into that, because I was under the understanding that everyone was paid already.
So
And
if
but-
that
but didn't
eventually
you
got
say
paid,
that
though, what
She did
happened?
get paid, I thought.
she
like-
did.
Well,
vendor.
so after I found that out and talking with the banners, I had reached out to Marty and Kathy and said, do we have any proof that anybody was paid? Because I learned from Giordano that she wasn't paid, so I'm concerned, and Plant Moran is gonna wanna see this when we do our finances for the July meeting. The response was, we're still buttoning up some things, loose ends after the event, and we'll have everything to you. I said I needed it the Friday before the finance meeting, and they just weren't able to get it until this Wednesday, so it just
Gotcha.
wasn't part of this, so.
But I'm just wondering, that was not paid. I thought you wrote a $36 check and a $17.
No, I didn't.
That
Just the
one was-
$36.
Gotcha. It's just there as outstanding.
Yes.
Okay, never mind.
The only point I will make is related to Andrea's issue of setting up some operating procedures for the next time. Where I'm looking at and I see sponsors, and then sponsors paying directly to vendors. I'm not gonna say that I know, but they probably better be careful of any kind of tax ramifications if they're not paying or donating
To the
funds to
nonprofit.
the DDA,
Yeah.
and the DDA are paying these bills. So
Mhm.
a lot of times, I mean, a lot of sponsors I talk to, they wanna donate because they know they get some tax
Yeah.
benefits. Well, running it this way, they have no tax benefits, and I'm hoping they understand that. But at least covering ourselves, that should be in some sort of
Yeah,
operating procedures for
maybe just promotion,
the
the
next.
fact that they got promoted was hopefully good enough for them.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Maybe
that's
they can
great.
write it off
but-
as a marketing thing.
But I think really one of our SOPs needs to be we follow the DDA sponsorship program that we have in place.
That was one of the other concerns that I have is we do have a sponsorship program in place. And I don't know if these businesses felt it was under that because there are some things that we are obligated based on that sponsorship program to do for them, like promotions on our website, like promotions in social media. I had asked for logos, so we could start doing that and proof of payment, and I haven't received that. So I'm not exactly sure of that piece.
Well, and I think another thing that's just a kind of just driving home the point of we have to stick with our program is we don't know, but just looking at these sponsorships here, what's the difference between a $250 sponsorship and a $300 sponsorship? You know, why? And we don't know the dollar amounts of these other ones, but it is a $50 sponsorship? Did I give $25? Did someone give $1,000? There's gotta be some consistency of, are you getting what you're paying for? Because if two people are sponsoring, you know, there should be a payout that makes sense based on your level.
Well, and was there something between Giordano being a sponsor and
I don't know.
Yeah, and that was my other question. I asked, I said, what did Giordano sponsor? And I was told that they sponsored, designing, which typically is something that is part of the program.
So they sponsored their design that they did for us.
That we
Like,
also-
Yeah,
So
like a shirt
they
count.
basically wrote it off in-house.
Correct, but again, what is that, and I don't know offhand, but is that $300? Is that equal to what this person sponsored?
Yeah, is there an
Is it a $50
itemized?
setup fee? Is that 50 the same as
Yeah.
the 300?
So like, should we see that on the bill, reflected in the bill that,
There's a
okay, we
$50
didn't
credit.
charge you for design work, so that's this much off of the total
Correct.
of everything else?
And then just kind of looking at some of the other sponsors, you know, as far as, I was told some of them just were listed as sponsored because they chaired the event, and that's typically not a sponsorship. That's just volunteer work, right? So, I just think it's something we really, really need to be careful about, because if someone, you know, could argue that if I came to a meeting and, you know, gave a couple hours of volunteer time, why isn't my business or my name listed as a sponsorship? Why am I not on the posters
Yeah.
and the flyers? I
Yeah.
showed up, I
I
offered some
volunteered
time.
a lot of time and.
Yeah,
Megan
and you're
wasn't.
not listed on it, so.
And I'm okay with that, that's an example.
Yeah,
to
but
your
but that's exactly it. I mean, and, I just think that making sure that we are just fair across the board with everybody is very
Well, and
important.
is that part of the sponsorship program at all? That if you volunteer a certain amount of hours, you do? I mean, because that would actually be a worthy thing to help get volunteers, maybe.
Yeah, we might want to add that.
Yeah, but at
It
this
is
point,
currently.
it's, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
And not to take away from any of these people that
No.
have sponsored and have put the money in, that's fantastic, and thank you. I mean, that's great, you know, having this amount of people that want to help and want to contribute, and that's fabulous. It's a matter of our internal accounting of it, how that process flows, and when we go up for audit and through Plant Moran, we have to be able to show what happened, where it went, and how it got there.
well, and I agree. I mean, appreciate all the sponsors, but then it opens up the question too of, was everyone given this opportunity? How is this promoted out to sponsors? So I think we need to make sure if we have a sponsorship program and it's on our website, and that's where, you know, you want to sponsor, we direct everyone to that site, and it's a fair program that everyone can choose their level of sponsorship versus kind of a one-off and, oh, you know, using face painting as an example. I'll sponsor the face painters. Well, if the next person down the road was told, go to the website and they chose a $500 sponsorship because that's what was available to them, is that really fair, business to business?
Yeah, I think getting some sort of just rundown policy of how events transpire, and like you said, then everything else. And again, I think Marty and Kathy would be great at helping direct, having lived through it.
Is there a way of, like, for the vendors who said that I'll sponsor this thing, is there a way we can ask them for verification that they paid that?
We
That's what I did.
did.
Oh,
Yeah.
you did?
Well, we
I
asked,
asked Marty and Kathy to get that for me.
Oh, okay, all right, so that's what we're still waiting on.
Yeah.
Okay, I
I
understand.
received some of it on Wednesday,
Yeah,
not all of it.
gotcha.
Okay. And if no one's reached out and said, other than Giordano randomly,
Yeah, I assume the rest of them have been paid. So,
all right,
I'll reiterate how this started regarding the event itself. Great job.
yeah, it was really
Yeah.
fun.
Very
was
positive.
positive.
Everyone, you know, good turnout, and everyone that I spoke with and ran into was very happy.
the
with
kids'
it. So,
activities was fun. It was, I wouldn't say it was like crowded at any one point, but it was constant.
A nice
The
flow.
whole
Yeah.
day, yes. And the kids, seriously, just with bubbles and music and the jump ropes and it doesn't have to be
Yeah,
so much. It
easy
was,
to please.
enjoyed it.
Great. All right, so we'll just keep that on the agenda for next month for our final update, hopefully. Holiday decor update, no update, as of last meeting, everything was approved. So we will be hopefully placing orders soon, it's just really coordinating everything, but other than that, we're good to go, there's no issues with stock or anything like that.
We're gonna need to figure out how it all is getting up.
Yep.
So that there's a plan beforehand if DPW is gonna be utilized.
Yeah, which, yes, they will be, hopefully, yes. But yes, and that's actually, we'll talk about that with our interim DDA too, that's on our plan,
Okay. I just don't want them to be,
blindsided,
Yes.
yes.
yep, at a busy time when, if there's snow, then they have other
Yeah.
things they have to focus on.
And I did briefly mention it to them, I mean, nothing formal, just kind of in passing, but we will be circling back and
Okay.
formalizing.
Okay.
Banners, we
I
kind
kind
of
of already touched on that, I
yeah.
don't have anything else.
All right, grant writing intern status. So I have a couple updates. So our grant writers are hungry little grant writers, aren't they? They're into this. So they attended the class with Kathy, and they really got a lot of information from it. We've set up every Monday at 5 o'clock. We have a meeting with them just to kind of see what they're at, getting things going. We had a couple hiccups in the beginning, getting them just hired on as an employee. So to do new hire paperwork, that sort of thing. So unfortunately, our meeting today, they emailed me some information. I didn't have a chance to print it. But essentially, they have found some grants that they wanted to bring to our attention. And if the board is in agreement with them, they would move forward on working on them. So let me go ahead and give you some information there. So Anna she had found some grants that work on, focuses on beautification. There is a Building Michigan Communities Grant Initiative. The fund floor is $50,000. The Build Michigan Community Initiative has established to reactivate underutilized or vacant space into vibrant areas by promoting capital investments into redevelopment projects being taken on by or developers or property owners with limited real estate development experience and familiarizing them with the development process in order to position themselves to potentially undertake more complex projects in the future. The second one that she found for us, there's a funding floor of $5,000, funding cap of $1 million. Our interest area spans from arts and cultures to environment to health and human services. We seek to make strategic investments in the community and look to partner with nonprofit organizations to help create enduring solutions to complex problems. We are keenly interested in what inspires you. We look forward to hearing your ideas for transforming our vision for a healthy and prosperous region. That's Community Foundation for Southeastern Michigan.
And that sounds like it's kind of just open to interpretation on what you use the funds
You
for,
would present
a particular problem
Project.
or project.
the next one is the NEA grants for arts projects. This would be for year 2025. There's up to $26 million available. National Endowment for the Arts is proud to support the nation's art sector with grant opportunities that together we can help everyone live more artful lives. Oops.
Sounds like maybe some of our art installations that we've been wanting to do might be
Yep.
a good fit for that.
Project-based funding, program supports opportunities for public engagement with the arts and art education. We welcome applications from a variety of eligible organizations, including first-time applicants, from organizations serving rural, urban, suburban, and tribal communities of all sizes, and from organizations with small, medium, or large operating budgets. Organization may submit only one application under the 2025 grant for art project guidelines. If an organization applies to the Challenge America category, it may not apply to other projects. So this could be applied to any beautification project that we have. Public Works and Economic Adjustment Assistance Program, funding cap, floor is 100,000, cap is 30 million. The NOFO, which supersedes the PWEAA, supports bottom-up strategies that build on regional assets to spur economic growth and resilience. Economic focus, so this would be something that could potentially fund our incubator program. So that is what one of our interns came up with. And our other one was on a DTE project.
I'm wondering, so the village is part of the Justice 40, which is within the state of Michigan. There's 40 communities who are, is it literally 40? Anyways, that are just underserved. So we fit in this certain designation, and Romeo's one of them. So if there's any, I can send some information along. If there's any of that would help
Yeah,
get extra points in a certain category, it will help set them apart a little bit that we're underserved.
and that's actually one of the things, one of
the
our,
questions she asked.
she asked us, one of our interns brought that up, is a lot of the things that she's researching comes based down to demographics.
Yep.
So if we could provide some of those demographics to them, it could help them.
They need to look at SEMCOG.
Okay,
I mean, they wanna sit down, I can sit down and have a meeting with them, and we can chat about things, or
Yeah.
whatever we wanna do, but, yeah, have that information.
yeah, that would be really helpful.
Because SEMCOG goes through all of that, and it's all on the website, you just have to go find it.
And that's what they're finding, they're saying, so they've given us some homework to do. So we need to provide kind of that statement of who we are, what we are, all of those
Okay.
details. And then as they delve into the grants, they'll obviously be
Okay.
needing specifics, so.
And I'm telling you, that is probably the best place to go for all of these things. We pay to be a member of that,
Okay,
so we have a whole profile on us.
oh, perfect.
You can pull all this different information, median income, this, that,
That's what we need.
what's the demographics of who lives here. It's all on our profile on SEMCOG, and it's already done.
Yep, that's exactly what they're looking for.
So if you email me or have them, and we can connect and.
Yeah. So then our other, Josie found one, reimbursements we made towards, this would be a tree program. So planting, it's a $4,000 matching grant. So,
We've talked about, as far as part of sidewalks, trees.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
Do something with trees, or
So the question really to the board is, they're ready to roll, is do we want to let them, now with the grants that they've identified, the tree grant, and the beautification grants, are we ready to let them start the process of really digging into it and starting to prepare, applications?
I think my only question with the tree grant is, say we got that one, it's cost share, so is the cost share like we also have to match up to 4,000, or are we cost sharing the 4,000?
Up to, we would cost her the 4,000.
So then would the DDA's budget have to be adjusted to include us giving them the $4,000?
Yeah, we would have to look at our budget and see, we probably would, we do have a fund balance that we could pull for and add to that line item,
Okay.
if that's something we wanted to do.
Well,
Oh.
and then, to step further, say we get it. There's certain time frames of when you need to use it. How ready are we to actually use that?
Right, well, and that's the thing, is
Mhm.
basically, we need to kind of give them the green light to delve in further, and then we would bring back in July, is this a feasible thing for us to do? I mean, obviously, we had to coordinate with the village, we can't just start plopping trees in if we
Yeah.
got this.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't wanna waste their time to go after this, get it, and then go, well, but we really can't use it within that time frame because we're not even ready with our logistics.
Yeah,
They actually wouldn't be able to apply for it unless we had the logistics.
Yeah.
So part of the application process is having the details of the project on a lot of these. Like, what are you gonna do with this money? Where are you gonna put it? Who's doing it? Is
Who's
there
gonna
a
do the work?
contractor? Is there a thing of whatever?
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, this one alone, it's saying for the tree planting, they need to know, obviously, all the logistics, they wanna know who's specifically planting them, what's their rate of pay, I mean,
Mhm.
so,
Wow.
they're-
Not me.
the mix of plants, so really this, no tree shall be reimbursed more than $175. I mean, there's all the details in here. The maintenance plan that's required, so really what we would be giving them the green light for is let's start, assembling that information. We do meet with them once a week, so if we very quickly realize this is a deadline of, August 4th, we can pull the plug on it and have her focus on something else.
Gotcha.
I like the art project.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
I like the tree project. I think, depending on what the deadline is, that might be a little complicated, but.
Yep.
I mean, those were two that jumped out at me. I think one of those sounded like it was possible, I don't know if sidewalks would fall into that, but
The second one, that's what I
Yeah.
thought of. I was like, that's kind of just a whatever we wanna do. Sidewalks would be great.
So we could put a couple projects, just create our
but, I
project.
mean, again, the sidewalks, we need the planner involved, I'm
Mhm.
sure, and somebody to say how much that project's gonna cost.
Yeah,
Am I wrong in thinking we actually have an arborist that, so maybe they could get with them about the
No,
tree
I'm saying
thing?
you are wrong in thinking that.
Oh.
Oh, I thought you were saying, like, no, yeah, we did.
Darn it.
Because I could have swore there was somebody, one of the meetings that was talking about different trees that were getting taken down throughout town.
They were saying the tree board would like to hire one with their funds,
Oh, okay, all right, so
which that would be, if that's something that can be done. in
hire an
conjunction,
arborist.
More money towards that, because I don't think we realize what that will cost.
Mhm.
Also getting an assessment of the trees.
Mhm.
It's one thing to do assessment of the sidewalk, and if you're just gonna get rid of the trees, then we don't need to assess them, because if you're
They're
gonna do
gonna
a
go,
swap
yeah.
out, then that doesn't matter. But
this may be a project that the DDA does in conjunction with the tree board if they're interested. So that's,
Mhm.
but, I mean, I think we should give her the green light to at least start the gathering, and then we can identify pretty quickly if it's a doable project. Otherwise, we send her back out and have her search for other stuff.
Do we need a motion to do that, or do we just?
I think,
I think
just
that-
let her
I mean,
work on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
you guys are overseeing it weekly, and
Yeah.
nothing's being, there's no resolution needed to go forward at this point, I don't know.
I mean, they're staying within their approved hours to work and everything, so I think we're good.
I did just get confirmation just this afternoon that the planning and economic grant that I applied for, did come through. So, I emailed our engineers and said, hey, let's get a meeting in the next 2 weeks. Obviously, this week's a moot point to
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
so that I can sit down and circle back with the sidewalk and the thing, you know, the things. Because now that I have the money to pay for the engineering of it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it makes a big difference when you've got the money
Very
for
cool.
it.
Just a curiosity question, how old are these two individuals? Interns?
College.
College aged,
And they are working with Kathy?
under her watchful eye, yep.
As far as
Yeah.
getting this
She
started
did
and
the
how it's
training
done?
and, yep.
Yep, she did the training.
But-
And then as they go through the process, like I said, we have weekly meetings, and then Kathy will shadow them through the process.
Good.
All right, new business. PILOT joint meeting, review and project list. So the DDA board met with the village council board last week to discuss the PILOT ordinance and costs associated with it. A lot of ideas were put out as far as different ways to identify what we're trying to do, what the plan is, how can we make it better going forward. From that, there was a subcommittee made, 3 board members here. We have Melissa, Paul, and Danielle from our board, and from the village council,
Nolan and Nathan.
Nolan and Nathan.
Yeah, I was like, I just remember Nathan.
Yeah, the 2 and, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be working together. The village is gonna be helping to provide some information of the shortages of cash flow for maintenance, to see if that's something that, you know, what are we gathering money for? And then, we'll wait to hear back from this subcommittee.
We have a meeting July 10th,
No,
right?
Mhm.
Did I say
Yeah,
July 10th?
July 10th.
At 7 PM. I am also putting, one of the things that came out of the village, or the meeting, the village board asked for a presentation on parking box and the app and using that. So I am putting a presentation together, so that it could be in their meeting.
Is there any local places that currently utilize that?
I'm looking. I don't know if it's specifically that one, but I think the overall information of that particular app, most of them that I've run across are fairly the same. So at that point, I think it would be if there's something specific we don't see in this one, or if we feel we want to get estimates from other ones, and how much is that going to cost, you know, kind
it'll
of
give
weigh
us a
that. Yeah,
springboard.
for sure.
And that'll be presented at the meeting on the 15th.
15th? Yeah.
The village council meeting. It was nice to have both boards come together. There
Yeah, it
was a
was
lot of
awesome.
ideas, because this is a really important thing right now in downtown. And making sure that we're being open to people coming into the village, making sure that people are able to, who want to open businesses or expand businesses, are able to do so. So it's nice to see that we've got a plan moving forward for this. All right, new business A, interim B, interim DDA director.
Okay, so, I reached out to the executive director of the MDA, which is the Michigan Downtown Association, and asked if she knew of anybody that might be able to be an interim executive director. We are quickly seeing, after a year now, that keeping some of this admin stuff afloat, I feel like we could be doing a better job if we had somebody that was dedicated to it. As much as, you know, John's able to do with minutes and notes and all the things, and Andrea and I trying to do checks and finances and all of that, I felt like we needed to do something. So she did give us a name, and Andrea and I were able to talk to her today on the phone. Her name is Christina Shepherd. I'm gonna screw up, it's hyphenated, Decius. It's her last name. She is the owner of POW Strategies. She is also the chair of the Michigan Downtown Association, and has been for many years. I didn't have time to print for everybody, but I'm gonna read a little bit about her and, her qualifications. Andrea and I were able to hear them today on the phone, but I want you guys to hear. Christina is nationally and locally known for her proven track record of revitalizing downtown Ferndale and downtown Dearborn, Michigan. During her tenure as the executive director of Ferndale DDA and manager of Dearborn DDA, with almost 25 years in downtown management, business, and economic development experience, as well as 30 years of public relations, marketing, organizational restructuring, nonprofit, and volunteer management, she provides insights and know-how to grow others. Recognized as one of Crane's Detroit Business 40 Under 40 in 2009, Christina holds a BA in Public Relations with a journalism minor from Western Michigan University and is a certified Main Street manager of the National Main Street Center. Under her leadership, downtown Ferndale transformed into a thriving downtown in the Metro Detroit area and experienced tremendous growth with over 175 building improvements and $80 million in reinvestment as part of Main Street, Oakland County. Downtown Ferndale was honored as one of the 5 great American main streets in the nation by the National Trust Main Street Center in 2010. Just trying to find some highlights here. Christina established and implemented a strategic plan that brought over $4 million in public improvement projects, renewals of downtown development and tax incremental financing plans in 2007 and 2012. She designed guidelines and ordinances, improving the overall aesthetic for the downtown, creation of numerous public policies, ordinances necessary to improve the business economy, so on and so forth. While in Dearborn, a community of over 110,000 people in 2 downtown districts, Christina grew the DDA taxable value by 30%, increasing the annual budget to over $2 million between the 2 DDAs. So there's more here. I think that kind of gives you a little idea of what we're doing. So what she provides is she asked us, what do we think our main needs are if we had somebody that came in 10 to 12 hours a week? What do we need them to do immediately? So we gave her administrative and operational tasks to include bookkeeping and accounting, managing interns and payroll, managing purchasing and RFPs, coordinating holiday decor and banner program, managing contractors for maintenance and floral, assisting the board and committee agendas. John, support.
That one's for you.
That one's for you. Support and guidance of payment in lieu of and social district special projects, business relations and visits, and attendance at board meetings. So keep in mind, this is a kind of emergency type situation that someone is coming into
And a short term.
short term.
So this is not a,
Is she gonna charge us more?
of course.
Well,
Yes.
So it's actually, and I think I misspoke earlier, it's 20 hours
Yeah.
per week. 10 to 12 of those would be in the office, the others would be remote. So it is $7,500 per month for her to do that. She also would be, could coordinate an executive director search and onboarding for $2,500. So that would mean she would find, look for a candidate for executive director, and she would do the entire onboarding process.
The DDA would make the final selection,
Sure.
but she would bring us the candidates, and once we decided, she would onboard them, she would make the introductions that they need in the community, and, throughout Michigan.
And is that 2,500 like a singled to do that? Or that's not the 75 plus that?
That's
No,
a
this is
separate,
flat rate.
yeah, like an à la carte kind of thing.
Is there
yeah.
a time frame that we're gonna give her to find, like, okay, we give you $2,500, you've got 3 months, 4 months, whatever?
We didn't get into that nitty gritty of it. This was, I thank her profusely for actually putting this together. I believe she is on vacation right now, and she took the time to do this because she knew we had a meeting today. So we didn't quite get to those specifics, Missy, but I would hope that it would be one of the top things that it's ASAP. We told her we needed one last month, so.
And the
Good.
thought process would be kind of what we discussed. We're looking at probably about 2 months of services. In that 2 months, you know, if we went with everything, during those 2 months, she would also be doing that search and that onboarding. But, you know, one of the concerns is we hire a DDA director and we're handing over bits and pieces. And it'd be really, to have a really successful director, it'd be great to be able to onboard them properly, like we all, even in our own businesses, we know how important that is. And be able to have those relationships, those connections, and someone who's kicking off strong. And just, you know, we were talking about the decorations. And one of the things that Danielle and I had talked about with her is we're doing things in between our workday, you know, so it's 15 minutes here, it's 20 minutes here. What she can accomplish in 2 solid days of work
Yes.
is gonna
On
lap
average,
us
yes.
every day of the week. And, you know, just using that as an example, you know, saying, here's what the board has decided, this is the decor, here's the DPW, coordinate it, come to us when we need to do something and see a project through. You know, we're already thinking, well, okay, when these decorations are delivered, where,
Who
who's gonna,
inventories it, where,
who's
yeah,
in, yeah,
all
I
of
mean, if
that.
I'm out of state at a, you know, it's just, we need to have this support. We need to have, when these banners arrive, that we don't wait 2 months to get the banners up. We're able to quickly have someone, boots on the ground here, making that happen. So,
And with her experience, her level of experience, I mean,
She sounds qualified.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
she's good.
definitely.
Do
and
you
that
know-
was only some of the things. I didn't
Yeah.
read you the whole thing.
Do you know what else is she doing, right? If she were to do 20 hours a week, as we are, either we're offering or she's offering, I don't know who did that time frame. What else is she doing?
I didn't. I know
Don't
she
know.
has a team.
Okay.
She's one of the team, so,
And we would be getting her,
yes.
not a team member.
Yes.
just to be
And,
clear.
did I pick up that you are interested in putting a 2-month time frame on this short-term hire, for lack of a better term?
I
Or-
would like to see at least 3 months. Hopefully, we can get it done in 2 months. So
Mhm.
I don't want to back us into a corner where we have to come back and
True.
try to continue it. If 2 months is a short amount of time. I
Yeah,
mean, let's be
Things
honest.
go fast.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if
2 is enough.
what you listed is a 2-month time frame, and then also you say there's a fee, as we'll call it, for her services, and then there's a à la carte fee for executive director search
And onboarding.
and onboarding. They may be 2 different timeframes, maybe,
Correct.
you know, 3 months, but then
Can I
the 2
grant
months for
finders
the executive
Going
director.
on to grant to
part
help
of it.
cover this.
It's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah, I think my only concern would be like if we can afford her. And then like, once, like John was saying, once somebody is found, how much longer onboarding might take? Like, we give her 3 months, and then somebody's found towards the end of the 2nd month. Is she gonna need
Do we need to
another?
pay her 7,500 more? Or is
Yeah.
that still covered under the 20?
Yeah, like, are we going to have to pay her for another month to finish onboarding the person that
That-
is found?
That is not my understanding. My understanding is this flat fee covers that onboarding.
Okay.
So,
And she'll have a good understanding of it if she's been here for
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I would say as far as, you know, the affording it, we have quite a bit of,
funds.
funds.
So we were budgeted for a director
Salary.
salary last year, and
use it.
right now, this year, that's not being used.
Okay.
So the
Page,
the money's there. I mean,
It's
that's,
there.
yeah, we don't even have to do, you know, it's,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh.
So, but I think really this, you know, we've got a lot of ideas, even when we were talking, you know, we brought up the the social district, which is something that the DDA has said we want to do, but,
Did you know that Mount Clemens has one?
I don't know.
I was just met with Mayor Crump, and we're discussing different things. She's like, yes, that is something that we need to get better about promoting. I'm like, I had no clue.
Yeah, Lapeer has one, I mean,
Alpena?
but yes, but the issue is, we're not able to move some of these projects forward. And I
Right.
think that with her skill and ability and contacts, quite honestly, she would very quickly be able to get us where we need to go. And at that same time, bringing on that director who's, you know, really learning from the best, you know, versus, you know, kind of being, you know, kind of learning on our place on the fly.
No, Ferndale, I mean, Ferndale looks great.
Yeah.
I lived there briefly when I was in my early 20s, and it looks totally different now
Yeah,
than it did back then, so,
Yeah, we have quite a bit of fund balance.
okay.
So if at any point in time, we would be able to do this,
Mhm.
this would be the time.
Okay.
yeah,
And we
Um,
can afford to pay her both the à la carte and the 3 months, like,
Yeah.
we'd be good?
yeah, oh yeah,
Okay.
we're good. So what the ask is, would be to, I can make a motion.
Oh, you do it.
To employ the services of,
Christina Shepherd.
Christina Shepherd, for a 3-month span at the rate, at her rate of 7,500 based on 20 hours a week with the items listed. And employ her for $2,500 to conduct our DDA director search and onboarding.
Will you print this up in like a, I know we don't need to go back.
She actually she's gonna put together an
Yeah,
actual
proposal.
proposal,
Okay, 'cause I'm like,
and
if we
once
go
we
back
did,
to our lawyers, it's
No,
gonna
no,
be
no.
5 months from now.
Yeah,
no,
no.
But we need
she's,
something official.
yes, she
signed.
is. She
Okay.
will write up a contract confirming the scope and the fees that are acceptable. This is what she was able to get us in a very short amount of
Yeah,
time, so that
we
we could
talked
at
at,
least
I think,
discuss.
10, and then
Yeah,
she produced this for us. And you know, she kind of asked us lead time, we told her, you know, now.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of my
I didn't- she
understanding
didn't-
was,
yeah.
get through this, you know, the holiday week, and she'd be able to start pretty quickly into July. You know, and, I mean, even things with this, you know, with the, you know, some of the Vintage Fest billing, that's someone who can sit there and make some phone calls and it's just kind of get us on track, I think, so.
Well, at least you'd be here for Peach Fest then.
Yeah, she'd
So-
kind of get us ready for winter and
Yeah.
at that point have onboarded our new director
Mm-hmm.
at that point too. So,
Was that a motion?
well, not all that extra, but the motion is there.
Okay, I'll second it.
Okay,
Um,
so we have a motion and a second, and then any discussion?
Yes, the executive director search. Do we know what we have to do to take that step? What is she gonna have to do to take that step?
She briefly asked us kind of what our search has been so far. And we told her we have listings, you know, we're gathering some applications. As far as the, you know, the specifics of it, I think once we move forward with it, you know, she will, you know, I don't know if she'll list other places, I'm sure.
So my reason for that question is maybe that part of it doesn't start on day one? So that she has her first month in here learning, helping us, getting things started, seeing where we are, and then letting her develop what we need.
Well, that to
And
me
how we
would
should
sound like
present.
she needs to do 20 hours of what we're contracted, and that extra.
That's more,
Yeah, so if she's working 30 hours, that comes out of the. only
2,500.
Yeah,
Correct.
those are separate pots that
Yeah.
she's. if she
we're getting our
wants to
20
work
hours
extra-
regardless.
Correct.
Yeah,
The 20 hours does not include the onboarding.
yeah,
And
The
that's.
that-
onboarding and the search is not part of the 20 hours, I should say.
Yeah. And if she started the onboarding and search on, let's just say day one, which I'm sure she wouldn't, I mean, I'm sure she's gonna wanna get a handle of what
To
we're
even
looking
know
at.
what is there to be.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
even if she did, and she turned around and said, my gosh, the God smiled on us, we found someone day one, well, we just shortened our need of her, you know?
So then our need of her, as you negotiate with that, would be, we can essentially stop at any time.
Yeah,
We'll
there's-
ask that.
If we would like to, if you're gonna say we'll do this for 3 months, but maybe, hey, after 2 months, we found somebody, we're good, thanks, we are able to
Yeah,
stop that.
there-
We'll have
Probably-
to ask that,
yeah,
yeah.
what that
And-
looks like.
How about an option to extend? So if we get through 3 months, if that's the number which it is the number that you put forward, and we said, you know, we wanna do this another 2,
Yeah, she should be able to write that into whatever,
Yeah.
you know,
please,
once hired, if it's less than, at, you know, whatever point in time.
Yeah.
Hand it over if we need to extend.
Yeah, there's probably gonna be some boilerplate 30-day opt-out kind of thing, so,
Yeah, without having to pay out, like if we,
Right.
like you're saying, if we get out of it early, we don't have to pay out the third month
Yeah.
if we're done in 2.
all right.
so, this is $10,000 per month beginning as soon as she negotiates.
Well,
No.
no.
7,500
per month,
per month,
2,500
It's a
one time.
one-time.
one-time fee.
So I guess the first month, yes, and then the next 2 months would be 7,500.
That makes much more sense to me. That's why I was asking, why don't we delay that first month?
Yeah,
I was
Yeah.
like, that's not what they just explained.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions, comments?
If you need anything.
I'm like, shoot, if we're gonna pay $10,000 a month, I'll figure out how to do it.
Everyone applies.
Hold on a second.
And she will handle all of our payroll too with our interns, which is huge. All right, so if no other discussion, we can go ahead and take roll.
Saint Laurent,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Van Warmer,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Yeah.
All the cups come
Rose.
flying that way.
5-0.
Perfect. All right, board member comments.
I don't think I really have any more today.
My comment will just simply be a repeat. I want to thank the village trustees through President Poznanski for having a joint meeting, which we had last week. Very productive. And it's just nice to know that there's a forum and a vehicle for some conversation. Disagreements, yes, but conversation, that's how eventually things get resolved and solved. So, once again, as I did that evening, thank you.
Perfect.
I don't think I have anything.
The only comment I have, today, resident came in asking about cemetery, and just wanted to let us know how great the town looks. They've lived here for almost 30 years. It's never looked better. Flowers are beautiful. They're, you know, they were just complimenting how the town looks. So
That's great.
Nice.
as much as you might be limping along, from the outside, nobody can see that.
People don't know our pain. The flowers are beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
love the
They
theme
are.
of colors. They
Yep.
really do look great.
Sorry, I have to go back. I was remiss in mentioning during our Vintage Fest talk, I did have one business that reached out and was not happy. Their business was, in their eyes, completely shut off, and public could not get to them. I pointed out that it wasn't completely shut off and that public could get to them with vehicles, but they didn't think it was easy enough. They did ask for $4,000 from the DDA in revenue they believe they lost for that day. I did tell him I didn't think that was a reasonable request. I'll fairly say that I did tell him that. And I explained that the police chief had made that decision to shut down the entire, 32 and Main Street for pedestrian safety and walkability. So I did say that I would talk to the police chief and see if there was another way that we could make sure we keep the public safe.
He already has ideas, because that owner was speaking to him that day,
Okay.
and he did let me know of the unhappiness, and that he's like, I already have an idea of what we could do.
Perfect.
Proof in the pudding is the way that the barricades were put up, at some point, nobody knows, they were adjusted, and an accident instantly happened. So the reason they are in the certain spots they're in
Yeah.
is for safety, but Chief did say he has ideas of what we can do.
Yeah. I bring it up to share that we maybe have some opportunities, well, I know we have some opportunities to do better communication with our businesses, and especially the ones where they are directly impacted by shutdowns or whatever. And though we may not see it as a complete shutdown, we don't know how that's gonna affect that business owner. So I'm just kind of letting everybody know that was some feedback, the one bit of negative feedback that I did hear. So that was it.
All right,
Can I go backwards too?
Oh, boy.
sure.
I did forget one point not along those lines, I guess, but as far as actually from a resident. And I don't know, it's more of a question maybe that I can go ahead and ask. I think it's more of a village than a DDA, but I know I was told a lot of work and a lot of money put into the park, and it's being neglected. Weeds, especially along is that Rawls Street side, and that fence, and nothing's being addressed. Again, I don't think it's a DDA issue. I think there was a park committee or a park fund or something, so.
DDA has assisted with Village Park and parking lot beautification and maintenance before, so it could be if you wanted it to be.
It's something we can look at and try to assist, but as far
Yeah.
as with the way it was put to me was the money that was put into this park, now what are we doing?
Is
So-
the park, just to jump, who does like the lawn cutting in the park? Is that a separate
Our
group or is
con-
that the village?
No, the village has,
The
that's
village.
part of the contract.
Okay.
The lawn maintenance contract. And to say that nothing's being done, a lot of times, the timeline of things might look like nothing's being done, but things have been addressed. But it's the middle of summer and people are busy, and pulling our weeds is not on the top of their list.
So if it's something that the DDA should be addressing, then I guess we should know so we can discuss it. If it's being addressed and if it's a village.
It's a could be. If you wanted to join in, not gonna say, it wasn't in the back of my head that I asked the contractor to do all this work, mulch, weed, spray that, remember, we had the conversation at last Peach Fest, with the weather, there was just weeds everywhere.
Yeah.
I've asked for this all to be addressed a couple weeks ago. It's just a matter of time. And once I got a bill, I can't say I wasn't gonna come and say, hey, could you share?
Yeah.
Quick question though, I'm sorry. In the alleys, the flowers that get planted in the alleys and that's from our floral contract, correct?
Correct, yes.
Has been.
The flowers
In the-
in the
In
the
the big-
baskets and the barrels,
Yeah.
yes, but then are you talking about on the ground? I don't
Well,
think
and
we
that's
did
where I
any.
was getting to. Who maintains the ground portion? Or weeds get pulled or
I
whatever
want
it
to
is?
say, I don't know if Mr. Hop goes around and that's part of,
What he does?
yeah, but
I'm
he's not
wondering
going to
if-
be getting down there and extensively
Sure,
crawling
right.
around in the flower beds.
Right.
Right.
I'm just wondering if this isn't something we put on our flower contract for next year. It's not just the park, but the alleys, weed maintenance, whatever. And maybe we're very specific, it's once a month, it's whatever.
And maybe our interns can pull some money
Right.
to help with that.
Yeah,
Could,
Um,
that's beautification.
Beautiful, yeah,
Mhm.
so I mean,
I mean,
maybe,
just the mulch itself, you're talking about a couple thousand.
and we have to look for, well, they would have to look further because they're the grant writers. But if they, if that grant can be used towards hiring, maybe we are able to hire
okay.
a groundskeeper for those areas. I don't have any comments today. So do a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.